Welcome back to Mobility Prosthetics YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about the Ottobock Genium X4, which is their new knee that just came out at the end of last year. It's kind of a combination of an X3 and a Genium, which obviously an X3 was a Genium, but they kind of have blended a lot of those technologies together. Now there is only Genium X4, there's no Genium and X4 anymore. This is just it. And so it's a really cool knee. It took a lot of the things that the X3 did well and it does them even better, and then it added some things on top of that to make this a super functional knee. First about X4 is it comes with 5 days, they say, of battery life, 5-ish days. I haven't really burned out this leg yet because I've only been on it for about a week. And so I've been plugging it in every night. I've had some demos and things that I've needed to do on it, so I haven't really wanted to have no charge. So I have been plugging it in every night, so I'm not quite sure where that threshold is yet. But like I said, I've been on this knee for about a week. I've walked it one other time right when it first came out, only for a few hours. So at this point, I do feel like I'm starting to get a really good understanding of it and the things that it does well. I like it a lot, obviously. It's nice for me to get on something that I wear every single day in the X3 and then get on this that is kind of, you know, an upgraded version of that and just is a little bit more intuitive. And the thing that I do like about Ottobock knees in general is that Ottobock knees are intuitive. They are built with function and safety in mind, so it's made to be something that you can put on and start using naturally, but it's also going to be safe and has some safe features for you to make sure that you're doing things correctly. And that is what I like about Ottobock devices. With a protective cover, just like X3 did. If I turn around here, you can probably see I can pop this off, which is a lot easier as the patient with this cover than what the old cover was. But you can see the color of the knee and kind of what it looks like without the cover on. It's still that same kind of Ottobock champagne color, which I don't love very much, but with the cover on you can kind of obviously cover that up, and so with the cover on I do think it looks nice. It's a little bit sleeker, a little bit slender than the old version, but looks really good in the cover especially, I think. And you can see, yeah, that's a lot easier for me to clip on than the old one with the 2 snaps in the back, if you ever have had experience with that cover. And then in this demo, I'm wearing an Ottobock Taleo foot, which I really like a lot. It's not my everyday foot, but I do have one. We fit it a ton here at Mobility. I think it's a really nice, comfortable foot that gives good energy return. And so we'll get to feet later on sometime, but I really do like the Ottobock Taleo foot. Another really nice thing that I like about Genium X4 or just Ottobock in general, which this is really common with all companies, but Ottobock now with X4 and Kenevo has come out with a programmable app. So instead of having to get your computer in a dongle and setting things up through Xsoft or Csoft on the clinician side of things, you've got an app now that takes you through all of the steps, and that's really helpful, you know, just in case you don't have your computer, you can't find the dongle, whatever it is, it's easy to go through the steps. And the app is really nice, really easy to work through, and so it makes all that just a little bit easier to set up. X4 has a bunch of things that, like I said, it's a 5-day battery life with the induction charger. Right here is the charge port. Of course, it's a different induction plug than the X3 was or what Kenevo is, so it's specific just to X4. But it does, you know, it does what you need to do. It charges the leg. And then the knee has a bunch of different features that obviously we're gonna go through. And it assists more in ramp decline and ramp incline than a lot of other knees that I've experienced. It's easier to get it into its stair ascent mode and stair step over step mode. It doesn't take quite as big of a hip hike or extension moment. It has intuitive cycling, so you get onto a bike, pedal 2 rotations. After those 2 rotations, the knee recognizes that it's cycling and it adjusts into its cycling mode for you. And then once you get off and put weight onto it, now it recognizes it needs to go back into its basic walking mode. So that alone is really helpful and really nice, because I know, like on my X3, I will always put my knee into cycling mode when I get on the bike, but I don't always remember to put it into walking mode when I get back And so it's nice that I'm back down and it just goes straight into a walking mode. It has a backwards walking feature, which at first when I tried this, I didn't really understand what it was for. And now after last week, I did a lot of stuff with the Ottobock team, and now I do understand, and we'll talk about that in here. I don't know, I'll try to demo it. I'm still not great at it, but I do understand what it's for, and I have used it in real life real quick for a second, and it was helpful. And so a backwards walking feature is nice. It also has a step 2 function. So if you're, waiting in line or in the kitchen or whatever it is, you can take a step forward with the prosthetic first rather than your sound limb. Or if you're bilateral, it makes it easier to take that first step. And so that's really cool as well, and we'll go through that. And then like all Ottobock knees, it has some knee flexion in its stance phase. So when you're at that heel strike, you get that terminal impact, and it's nice and soft and controlled. It has a flex standing mode, it has an extended standing mode, and so all these things are really helpful and really nice, and we're going to go through them. So the first thing I really want to address about the X4, about Ottobock knees in general, is it's called a lot of different things depending on the knee or the company that makes the knee or the prosthetist that you're talking to. But stance knee flexion. So that's having flexion or a little bit of bend in your knee when you're in stance phase, which is when I'm standing on it, right? Especially when I'm walking through my gait. As I walk through my gait, you see I land here, the knee almost pre-flexes. The X4 has a pre-flex setting, so it lands a little flex. You can see that pre-flex there. And then when I land, I like to push just a little bit. That's just a personal preference of walking this way. And then you go back to full extension and over. And to me, I really like this because it makes everything more comfortable. So I walked on a plie for 10 years, which if you understand the mechanics of a plie, it's a great reliable knee, but it's really basic. It's just a hinge in a lot of ways. And so that thing swings out full extension, and then you're locked out fully extended, and then it's a long lever pull over that way. And so for some time, man, it really hurt my back. My hips were always aching, things like that. But then I realized, oh, maybe I want vertical shock in my foot, and that will give me a softer landing if I get some vertical shock in my foot. And what I realized, especially on my plie, is as soon as I got a vertical foot, it started to send my plie into a yielding mode. And so it would almost, in some cases, act like I was walking down a ramp or downstairs. And so that created an issue. And I realized that what we really want as an above knee amputee is, instead of your shock absorption down here in your foot, you want it up here at your knee. And so that is what this flexion in stance phase gives you, is a nice, soft, comfortable, relaxed landing. And I understand, trust me, I understand AK users out there that don't want to walk this way. They want to be fully extended and pull over. And I get where you're coming from, walking like this and getting that full extension rather than getting this kind of softer landing. And I understand, because this long extension locked out is safe. Typically on knees, when I was learning how to walk, most of the knees that were available at the time, if you're in this position and your weight line is behind your knee center, this knee is going to drop you. But you can see even right there, me right here, if I sink into that thing, it dampens. But these knees, and most knees now, a lot of MPKs are coming on the market at the moment, and they're all being designed to have some of this in them. And it's all designed for comfort. It's designed to be safe, but also more comfortable. So it's not something that is super dangerous you're gonna go down with, right? You saw how long that was, and this is obviously a very active knee. It's not a K2 knee, it's for somebody really active. And so they should be able to catch themselves there. But you see how long that is. Like, I have plenty of time if I get behind my weight line to really catch myself if I need to. It's not that big a deal, but to me, this is the biggest function of Ottobock knees in general, but just a lot of knees that are coming out now, this makes a major difference in how your back feels, and how your hip feels, and the comfort of your walking overall. Now we're gonna get to the step to walk. So this really, I have used this like in my kitchen, waiting in line at the gas station one time, taking shorter steps. But really, I see this as a huge benefit to bilaterals, people missing both of their limbs. So if you're on this leg, you know, most of us take a step first with our sound side, or if you're missing both, you know, it creates a difficult problem because you don't have a good leg to step with and get that good extension and toe off moment to create a swing, and so that makes it really hard. A lot of times we take steps like this, and then you get going, you know, different things like that. This knee is designed to take a step forward with the prosthetic first if you'd like. So you just shift your weight over to the opposite side and get up on the toe, and then that thing swings and makes it super easy to take that first step forward. So we'll do that again. Oh, I guess I took a step with my left there, but standing from stationary. And you can see that thing does swing really nice once you get up on the toe. There you go. So now we've got the backwards walk mode. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I did not know what this was for. I assumed like maybe bilaterals, like they probably have a benefit for getting the knee locked at a certain angle once you're stepping backwards. But then I worked with the Ottobock team for a little bit, and it made sense to me. And so for me, where I use this at the beginning of the video, I said I use this in the real life. I took my dog for a walk. Me and my wife have a Saint Bernard. She's huge, she's the best, but like she could pull me over if she decides she wants to. So something that is really nice for backward walk is if I use this. So if my dog, if the parallel bar is my leash, right, and my dog decides to take off, I got this locked at a certain angle so I can step back and push against it and continue pushing and pull my 150-pound dog back, rather than, you know, I've been in this situation on other knees and I've been this way. Like, you know, I'm just trying to hold on, not get pulled over. Maybe I can get my other foot down and hold her like this. But man, she's a big dog. So being able to lock this thing and pull and push is really, really nice. So another great thing about this knee is the functional lock, like I talked about. If you go into the app, it has a fully extended lock, so you could lock it fully extended if you were like at a concert or something, weren't gonna be walking a ton. But then I use this lock all day, every day, is the functional lock. So you can see right here, I've got a little bit of bend in the knee, and now it's locked. I locked it, you know, I think you hold it there for, I think they say 3 seconds, but it is just holding the knee stable and then getting it locked, and you can lock it at a lot of different angles, as you see. And so I really do like that, and I use it all of the time. Okay, and then sitting is basic microprocessor sitting, so that's really nice. But the thing here is you can set the knee so that if you want it to be this slow kind of come down, you can. I like it to be more free swinging, so it's easier for me to move it out of the way. So I can sit a little bit more naturally. If I want to kick it out, I can. Hang out naturally, move here, and then when I stand up, good to go. So another thing we also have on this knee, like the X3, is stair ascent, step over step, and then stair descent, step over step. So we've got stair descent here, which is still just like you know, all the other knees is tied to our sitting dampness. And so I have mine really low sitting because I like to come downstairs fast. But if you're familiar with the stair step over step function from the X3, and a lot of knees that can do it now, they're all kind of that same movement. This one is much more slight. And so it doesn't take this long hip extension moment and big kick to get that thing up there. You see, it doesn't want to do that anymore. It really is just very slight, which allows you to get that good moment up the stairs. Let's see if I can do it from first.
Okay, so here we are on ramps. We're going to start by going up. So ramp ascent, the knee lands just slightly flexed and adjusts to the angle of the ramp as you take 1 or 2 steps on there. So it's not like you have to do anything to make it adjust. The knee recognizes that it's walking uphill and then starts flexing more for you, which creates a little bit of a shorter lever arm for your hip, which means you don't have to pull over. See that little bit of flex there. And so you don't have to really pull over long and really put a lot of strain on your lower back and your hip. And then on stair descent is or ramp descent is really where this kind of sets itself apart. So it has dampness in two separate categories. So it has initial stance dampness and then late stance dampness. So right here on those two, I have it up pretty high. Here I have my initial stance dampness turned way down, so it's easy for me to engage. But then as I push and sink into the knee more, the knee gets stiffer and supports me more. So that allows me to control it a lot better and not slam down on my sound side and take more even strides rather than just long, awkward strides. And so that's really a nice feature.
Okay, so that's Ottobock Genium X4 in a nutshell. Obviously, this is really quick, condensed time. I really like this knee a lot. I think that it's probably the most intuitive knee that is out at the moment. It really works with me really well. Some of that is that I have a really good understanding of it too. But like I was saying earlier, it comes with 5 modes plus the basic mode. So you have your basic walking mode plus 5. I tend to set up my modes to be more realistic, I guess is the term that I'm looking for. So I know that it has a snowboarding mode, and I know that it has a surfing mode and all these different things on there. My 5 modes on my X3 is a carrying loads mode. So if I can't see my feet and things, it shortens up the step a little bit so I know that it's there. It takes out some of that flexion in the knee so that I know that it's safe. I have a functional lock, hard lock on in my modes. I have a crouching mode. So things that I actually use in my daily life. I don't have my snowboard mode in there because I would never snowboard on an X4 or my X3. I just wouldn't. There's better things out there for those things. These are great devices. Maybe if you want to go give that a try, something like that, then yeah, put it in snowboard mode and go give the day a try. But then really, if you want to be a snowboarder, if you want to snowboard a lot, or you want to ski a lot, or you want to hike a lot, scratch that. Hiking, this knee is great for. But these extracurricular activities, then I think that there are probably better options out there than a microprocessor. It doesn't have to be X4. I'm talking like my snowboard leg is a spring basically, but it's not a microprocessor, but it's better for that. But I can't walk around in that either. I would never use that in my real life. And so I set up my real life leg to use it in real life. And so that's just, I guess, some quick advice. Another thing that I do like about the app, especially the Ottobock has had, and there are other manufacturers that have had this for a little bit now. Ottobock is just kind of getting to the table with the programmable app, but it has training modes. So like if you are using the X4 and you're having a hard time figuring out where that toe off moment is to get a good clean swing, you can turn on a functional beep. And so when the knee gets to its terminal stance and it feels everything that it's looking for from the user to get to that swing, beeps, and then helps the user understand where all those movements are, and just helps you understand how to use it a little bit better and helps you learn how to use it a little bit faster. So that's X4. It is, it's an amazing knee. It is really up there in that K4 range. Like I don't even say K4 quite very often, but this knee is in that K4 kind of demographic. I think that there's justification for anyone just with the ramps and inclines. Like I do believe that the way that this knee functions on inclines is so impressive that there is justification there for a lot of people. I think that insurances aren't gonna pay for that justification for a lot of people, but this, like if you're an active hard K4 user, it's fully waterproof as well, which again, I would never submerge this thing, but you can do it, and it's rated to do it, and so you can. And so there's a lot of those high function activities that come with it. And so it's a really awesome knee. It's kind of, when you walk on it, you can tell that maybe this is where things are going, how it's intuitive, how it feels. It's really cool. And so if you have the opportunity to get a demo, get one, try it out on a patient, go check out how it functions on ramps and inclines and play with those settings to see how you can really dial it in for your patient. It is a very cool knee, and it is very safe, comfortable, and it's Ottobock and it's an X4, so that kind of, in a lot of ways, speaks for itself, but it really is a very good knee. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.